Sure. No. Obviously, we're ecstatic that Coach Kelly decided to remain at the University of Oregon. Obviously, we've had unprecedented success over the last 4 years, and that's contributed to his innovative style. He's a great leader, and we're thrilled that he's going to remain in Eugene.
Rob, when and how were you informed of this?
He called me last night. Called me directly.
Did you have any indication before he went in for interviews?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Chip's been a true professional, whether it was last year or this year. He manages everything exactly the right way. So I was in the loop all the way. When he said he was committed to delivering for the student athletes and remaining focused, that's exactly what happened. I began to hear from NFL teams on Wednesday night and Thursday just to let me know what their plans were, which was a professional courtesy. And then I had a conversation with Chip Friday morning.
Did he say why? What it came down to that he decided to stay?
And we didn't get into great details. I was busy celebrating when I got the call, and what he said was he did exactly what he said he would do. He would talk, he would gather all the information, and then he'd reflect and he'd make a decision, and that's exactly what he did. And I appreciate the way he handled it. He kept me in the loop the entire time, and I was pleased to get the call.
Do you think now, at least for the recent future, or the near future, that you've kind of held off the NFL now? 2 years in a row, you decided not to do it.
I'm not going to predict the future. I will say this: I'd love to have another 12 or maybe even a 13 or 14 win season, and then if that happens, it happens. The reality is, when you're 46-7 in 4 years, you're going to draw a lot of attention. And as I've said before, obviously, he's a genius with X and O's. But it's a lot deeper than that. He's an outstanding leader. The way he's so innovative and the culture that he's created here is unique. It's unique because you have 105 young people on the same page. You have all the adults in and around the program on exactly the same page. It's a great case study in leadership, and it's something special.
How many teams did you hear from that wanted to talk to him?
I heard from two while I was in Phoenix, and then when I got back to the office, I had a voicemail from one that had been left on my work voicemail.
And you said you were in the loop. What's the frequency of the dialogue as Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
When we talked on Friday, he laid out for me exactly what was going to happen on Friday and Saturday, and then we touched base Sunday morning, and then talked again Sunday night.
About what time Sunday night?
Say that again.
What time Sunday night did you get that final call?
The days and times are all running together over the past couple of weeks. It was sometime during the basketball game. I knew I had that on.
Why do you think he opted to stay?
I'm not. Again, I don't want to speculate on anything other than to say I think we have something very special here. It's a great place. We have a very passionate fan base. We have a unique culture, and I think it's one of the best jobs in football. Not just college football. I think it's one of the best jobs in football, and so I think that weighs heavily.
Will there be any renegotiation of his contract or assistant's contract?
That was not a part of any of the discussions this weekend.
How important was the timing for you to get it wrapped up within the 48 hours, not sort of drag on?
Obviously we're coming down the stretch for recruiting, so timing is always critical, and so it's certainly helpful.
So there were no assurances that this wouldn't be an annual thing?
We didn't really have any of those types of discussions. Again, if we're having the type of success that we all want to have and that we've enjoyed over the last few years, and we're winning 11, 12, 13, 14 games, this stuff may happen, but it's a byproduct of success, and success is our first priority.
Is this something you're okay with happening on a potentially annual basis?
If we're winning 11, 12, 13, 14 games, it's something that we'll deal with.
Were you sort of bracing yourself or being ready to sort of try to, we've all heard that Mark is going to step in should Chip leave, and were you kind of mentally getting ready for that?
Well, obviously I'm in a role where I have to be prepared, and I do pride myself on organization and preparation. So yes, we were in the beginning stages of preparing for that. But as I've said all along to everyone, our number one priority was to retain Chip Kelly. He's a special coach, the best in football in our opinion, and we're sure pleased that he's here.
There was numerous reports that Phil Knight was involved in maybe had a little bit of sway. Do you know what to the role and to the degree?
Well, I'll say this: there was numerous reports about a lot of things, and as we sit here today, a lot of them were inaccurate. And it's interesting to me in your all's world that some of the same people were reporting complete opposite things. Yet I don't know where accountability goes. But no, this again, it was laid out exactly as Chip said it would after the game. He was gonna talk to a few teams. He would keep us in the loop, and then he would evaluate it all, reflect, and make a decision. That's exactly what happened.
You guys are so aggressive with information, the Quack Cave thing, redesigning Go Ducks, all that thing. I mean, you guys want to maintain a dialogue with your fans. Why wait overnight? People were so emotionally invested in this team and this decision.
Yeah, again, there was so much speculation and so much misinformation. I mean, there was really no rhyme or reason. We just wanted to get everything organized and delivered at the right time. You may want to talk to the communications experts as well, but again, it was really just about making sure that everything that we were ready to talk.
So you had you felt sure when
I was positive when he called me last night. Yes, there was no doubt in my mind.
So what was the nature of the assurance then? One more year, or what did he tell you?
He called me and said, he did exactly as he said he would do, and he said, I'm remaining at the University of Oregon. That's the extent of the conversation.
I guess the point being, with teams still out there, the NFL job openings that could be out there this offseason, that he said, this is it for this year, I'm coming back. He
said to me, I've explored these three, I've reviewed everything, and I'm coming back to the University of Oregon.
Do you expect to have a fifth year with the same full football staff in light of this?
Again, I'm not going to speculate on that. I know we have a number of loyal assistants who are very pleased with the culture that we have here. But with that type of success, it's not just the head coach people are going to pursue. So I'm confident that some other teams will look at some of our assistants as well.
Is it funny to you to know the inside information and watch all these reports kind of circulate around?
Is it what? What was the first part?
Is it funny or interesting to you to watch?
Yeah, there is a certain point of it where it does become comical because I do have some information, and again, I find it fascinating that the same individuals can report completely opposite reports in a matter of 24 hours. That just.
These are fluid situations, though, right?
No, they're very fluid, but people go out with such strong, bold statements on what I would say are flimsy sources at best. And then they use the same sources to report the exact opposite. And again, this was all laid out on Thursday night. Nothing deviated. But you guys could tell me more than, and I could even say, sometimes in your business, the race to be first just trumps everything else, and that's unfortunate. Because
that got to my question earlier, though. I mean, it speaks to the passion, the investment. You ask an investment of your fans.
Yes.
And they like constant updates
right.
on these situations. I mean, I think a lot of people felt kind of strung along over the last few days, like
Yeah, but again,
is that right? But they are.
Well, I know, but you don't, as you said, they're fluid, so you don't want to give a minute by minute update because it does change. When we had the information, that was solid and done, let the process take its course. Everybody just wants to make these bold predictions in the middle of a process. Again, it was very clearly laid out exactly what would happen, and that's exactly the way it went.
Is there anything to you that stood out as particularly comical or outrageous throughout this whole process?
Oh, I don't know that there's anything specific. Again, it's always interesting to me with my values that somebody can be so strong on one thing on Saturday midday, and then by Sunday night report the exact opposite. I don't know. It's difficult for me to comprehend.
Is there ever a doubt in your mind that he wouldn't be coming back throughout the process?
Oh, I pride myself on preparation, and I also live in the real world. There's only 32 of those jobs in the world. And again, I'll stack this job up with any of those because I think this is a special place, and we have a lot of unique features. But my job is to be prepared.
Are you aware does Chip plan on making a statement or anything like that?
Chip, absolutely. When we talked last night, he was 100% focused on doing what obligations he had at the convention, and then he was going to turn his attention to recruiting.
Given the interest from more than one team, are you surprised that the NFL didn't take him away this time?
Nothing really surprises me in this business. Again, we have a great situation here, and again, obviously I'm the athletic director and I'm biased, but at the end of the day, we have something special in that program, in this community, with a passionate fan base. So we feel we're on very solid ground.
Have you talked to Mark Alford since Chip announced that he was coming back?
I talked to Mark a couple of times. I talked to all the assistants over the weekend. I'm trying to think the last time I talked to Mark. I don't think I've talked to him since then.
When you said you were preparing for, the reality if he did leave, was there preparations to promote Mark, or was there going to be a national search?
There was going to be a search. There was absolutely going to be a search, and clearly Mark would be a candidate. He's a candidate for everyone else that's called this offseason. have called about Mark. Called me directly, 2.
And all college jobs or?
Both college jobs, yes.
Head coaching jobs?
Head coaching jobs.
Were you lobbying Coach Kelly along the way during this process? I mean, we get to we want you back here quickly.
Absolutely. I mean, Chip and I have a great relationship, and so I wasn't. He was very aware of how much we wanted him here. Again, he was focused on preparation. When the game was over, I let him know that we have something very unique here. He's a special leader. He's the right person for Oregon football. But I also understood that he has an obligation to explore this, and I completely understand that.
What did you tell him when he said he was coming back?
Well, I don't know if what I said right off the top of my head. I was probably high-fiving my kids and my wife at the moment. But I said I was thrilled. I love working with Chip. I think he's an outstanding football coach. But again, I think it's much, much deeper than that. I think he's a great leader, and I appreciate what he's done here.
Those calls about Mark, were those Pac-12 or otherwise?
Otherwise.
Would you call Chip irreplaceable? I mean, obviously you can bring someone in here, but a guy like that, no one's ever reached the heights.
Well,
of that.
he's 46-7 in 4 years. I mean, obviously he's done something very special, but irreplaceable is hey, our job is to make sure that we have a foundation that goes beyond any one person, and that we're prepared if in fact we do have to make a change.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Rob.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it.
Thank you.